welcome to Nationwide. We thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. The weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council is underway in the State House. The meeting is being presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. It is the 16th in its series for the year 2020. It is the 7th to be held virtually in compliance with the COVID-19 social distancing guidelines. Alongside the President in the Executive Council chambers are Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Chief of Staff to the President, and about 10 ministers. The Head of Service of the Federation and other members of the Council are participating online from their offices across the nation's capital. Several memoranda from ministries, departments, and agencies are billed for consideration for possible approval. Some ministers who are yet to give account of their stewardship are also expected to do so in furtherance of the next level agenda. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that members observed the moment of silence in honor of the former Federal Commissioner for Works in the 70s, Major General Obada, who died last weekend after a brief illness at the age of 81. NTA News will bring details on the outcome of the meeting when made public by the Council. The food security drive of Nigeria as a populous nation is more than just economics and trade. It is also about provision of nutritious food at all times without relying on emergencies. Towards ensuring this, the Senate Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development has received submissions on a bill for an act to amend the Cattle Research Council of Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Nigeria's agricultural sector needs innovations that are guided by measures against the impact of climate change. This was part of discussions at the public hearing on the bill, which is aimed at complementing the efforts by the federal government.
An efficient, well-managed and funded research system will attract higher caliber of researchers from within and outside the country.
The ARCN Secretariat or headquarters must be adequately strengthened with highly qualified staff that have sufficient capacity to effectively drive operations of the institutes and colleges.
The role of Agricultural Development Fund, strategic reserve for the country, and the need to reawaken the weak extension system were also presented at the public hearing.
This subject matter is very, very critical to the survival, the growth of agricultural production in Nigeria.
Discussants at the public hearing say Bible research system is a major requirement needed to ensuring agriculturally led diversification of the country's economy. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Still from the National Assembly, considering the economic situation Nigeria and other countries find themselves due to the global pandemic, the House of Assembly Committee on National Planning and Economic Development set out on a fact-finding mission to ascertain the level of preparedness of Nigeria's economic policies through the Office of the Minister of State Budget and National Planning in navigating the difficult terrains of bringing the country back on its feet economically. Chimobi Walter Naji reports that members of the committee at the end of the meeting were optimistic that plans already in place will surely place the country on the side of economic growth. The report.
With the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan expected to terminate by December 31st, 2020, and the introduction of a new National Medium and Long-Term Plan, this oversight visit by the House Committee on National Planning and Economic Development became expedient to cross the T's and dot the I's and ensure the plan is truly an inclusive one and will guarantee a sustainable growth. The Minister of State, Budget and National Planning, Clem Kanadia Agba, noted that President Muhammadu Buhari approved the new plan to be led by the organized private sector so as to ensure a true national development plan.
We've had plans, but the issue of our plans has been that of implementation. And one of the issues that we've had with the implementation is that those plans had not carried along these various diversities that I've talked about and gotten their input.
The chairman, House of Representatives Committee on National Planning and Economic Development, Olododo Cook Abdulganiyu Saka, while appraising the ministry, said a more proactive measure need to be put in place, especially with the formulation of next year's budget to focus on key development areas that will spur growth in the real sectors of the economy.
Because having people, gathering people, every administration come out with different plans, Vision 1010, Vision 2020, Vision 3030. It doesn't have effect to our public, to our Nigerians. So these are the areas we want to solve iron out.
It was the consensus of both members of the committee and the ministry that all hands must be on deck to steer the country on the path of sustainable development. In Abuja, I'm Chimubi Walter Naji, NTA News.
Economy experts have described the revised 2020 Appropriation Act as a critical, timely and appropriate approach to help mitigate the negative socio-economic effects of COVID-19. The experts who were discussing the 2020 revised Appropriation Act on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria also called for the diversification of the nation's economy from its dependency on oil. Oluseyi Adiagbo reports.
The government has now planned well by providing the economic sustainability plans and as well as revising the budget. And I'm also saying that the government is committed to implementing.
Senator Babajide Omowurari, Senior Special Advisor to the President on Legislative Matters, said the revised budget is in line with the current realities to reflect Nigeria's economy and save it from the negative effects of the pandemic.
We have the view that the current revised budget will take us to the end of the year. The economy sustainability program drawn up by the committee set up by Mr. President, which the Vice President chaired, has really given a comprehensive stimulus plan with timeline and costs, and most especially with implementation.
Other guests on the program shared Senator Babajide Omowurari's view, but want actors in the implementation process to diligently proceed with the limited resources available.
The most important thing I see here is the capital expenditures, because that's what touches the people. So how are you going to implement your capital expenditures? Where are you going to get the money to fund it?
The budget itself has to be aligned with our objective reality as currently, constituted as it were.
Respondents on the Good Morning Nigeria Twitter handle also welcome the federal government's review of the 2020 Appropriation Act in view of present economic realities. In Abuja, Oluseyi Adiagbo, NTA News.
As the world continues to grapple with the challenge of coronavirus, the time for stock-taking on the impact of the pandemic on skills development and exploring how young people can respond to the economic crisis is now. This is coming as the world celebrates Youth Skills Day. In this special report, correspondent Olayinka Ojo takes a look at the significance of this year's theme, Skills for a Resilient Youth in the Era of COVID-19 and beyond.
Designated by the United Nations General Assembly in 2014, 15 July annually is observed as World Youth Skills Day to celebrate the importance of equipping young people with skills for decent employment and entrepreneurship.
We have male hairdressers, so we can also have female barbers, so I don't think there's anything wrong with having female barbers.
The heat press and the cutting plotter work hand in hand. After you take the material that you're finished writing on the cutting plotter, you peel it and take it to the heat press where you can paste it on your t-shirts with the heat.
Statistics by the United Nations indicates that today there are more than 1.1 billion young people between 15 and 24 years, and they account for 16% of the global population. And because of their population, young people are almost 3 times more likely to be unemployed than adults.
Every organization, beyond employing, beyond creating wealth, should have a mini training center.
Today, due to COVID-19 pandemic, more than 1 in 6 young people are out of work. Since this year's celebration, though virtual, is coming amid unprecedented global crisis, helping young people to be more resilient to changes caused by the current crisis and in the world of work in general, especially in sectors hardest hit by COVID-19, is necessary. It is estimated that 70% of the world's learners are affected by school closure across education levels currently, as this pandemic threatens the continuity of skills development.
Apart from maybe building of hubs, some of them can okay, for instance now, maybe if I have a younger brother that I know is being idle at home, instead of him sitting down at home while I hustle, I can actually tell him, okay, come with me to the office, learn one or two.
The latest global employment trends for youth 2020, technology and the future of jobs show that since 2017, there has been an upward trend in the number of youth not in employment, education, or training. And in the face of these challenges, distance training has become the most common way of imparting skills.
Digital skills, which I've become an advocate, that beyond the paper certificates that we have now, the youth need to have a level of digital skills and literacy, which is a add-on.
As the global fight against COVID-19 continues, experts are of the opinion that achieving better socio-economic conditions for today's youths in terms of challenges of unemployment and underemployment is key. Olainka Ojo, NTA News.
Still on the youth, acquiring entrepreneurial skills by Nigerian youths, especially at this period of COVID-19, will help them expand their knowledge on certain vocation while preparing them for a brighter future. Emedion Umar reports on youth's concerns in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, on the celebration of the 2020 World Youth Skills Day.
With the coronavirus pandemic, which has led to the closure of technical and vocational education training, including continuity of skills development, it is estimated that nearly 70% of the world's learners are affected by these closures across education levels. Obviously, e-learning and distance training have become the most common ways of impacting skills.
Business has always been good. Business had been flowing before the lockdown, and we've experienced a little difficulty after the lockdown because churches were closed, no weddings, no burials. But thank God we are recovering.
Before now, we used to see customers flock in and bring business to us. Like me, I'm a fashion designer, I do embroidery. So because of the lockdown and the government restriction on social gathering and as such, we don't have patronage in our business.
About 5,478 youths have been trained in different skills, including ICT, oil and gas, welding and fabrication.
In Uyo, Emedion Umar, NTA News.
And from Makurdi, in spite of the presence of the coronavirus pandemic, which has impacted various aspects of human existence, many workshops and skills acquisition centers in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, have continued to train young people in various vocational skills. As the global community marks Youth Skills Day, Bem Hanya takes a look at the challenges confronting this sector of the economy and how it could be improved.
The Benue State government established the Business Engineering Skills Training Center, while the federal government established the Technology Incubation Center, all in Makurdi, aimed at training the youths to be self-reliant. These two centers have been collaborating to fabricate hand washers and sew face masks during the COVID-19 period.
Work is ongoing right now on how they can fabricate something that is very useful in this COVID-19, especially these hand washers that people use every day. We've been in touch with them so that they'll be able to fabricate it and any other thing that we know can be useful in this period. And then after the period of COVID-19, that center has existed for quite some time. After this period, they will also multiply in their knowledge.
Private workshops and skills acquisition centers in Makurdi are still functioning optimally despite the coronavirus pandemic.
If they can help me and then to enable me purchase on tools more, to enable me
carry on my work. Before I'm in street, no work. Then my uncle told me that I have to come and learn this work. This work is very good. And I come and I see that I appreciate it. I like the work very well.
The coronavirus pandemic has definitely come with its challenges, but on the brighter side, these challenges could be opportunities to invent more equipment with the knowledge acquired. In Makudi, Bem Hanya, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide. It's time for our very first break. Don't go away. Nationwide continues shortly.
In times like this, the coronavirus is spreading so fast. The use of face masks has become very vital. More importantly, for the elderly in the society whom their immune system is not strong enough to fight the disease. If you must go out, use a face mask. It is not comfortable, but it is necessary. Wear your mask, I wear my mask. So much to do, but stay at home for your own safety. Make an extra washable mask and share with your neighbor. Everyone should use a face mask once you leave home to be safe from the coronavirus, especially the elderly persons in our society. Protect me, I'll protect you. This message was brought to you by the Coalition of Societies for the Right of Older Persons in Nigeria, COSRAPPing, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
We have observed the lockdown. We have practiced the measures in order to curb the spread of the virus, but we can do better. The coronavirus spread is increasing daily, and only together can we cut down the numbers and defeat the spread of the virus. Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, and a recovered patient cannot spread the disease. Do not stigmatize. Do not hesitate to report any case, or if you have come in contact with anybody that has been infected with COVID-19. If you have cough and fever, please stay at home and call your state hotline. Find state numbers at www.covid19.ncdc.gov.ng. Remember, it is for your own good and for the good of every Nigerian. Let us do better and defeat the virus. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
5:30 p.m. on NTA. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Access Bank and Baba Ijebu.
Thank you for staying on Nationwide. I have with me via phone call chat, Mr. Niyi Adekunle. He is the founder, Yes, I Believe Academy Africa, and he's speaking to us from Lagos. Mr. Niyi, thank you for joining us. Okay. Okay, thank you. Can you turn down the audio of your TV set? Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I can hear you now.
Okay, yes. The world is celebrating Youth Skills Day, which was instituted in 2014. Now, how important is this amid the COVID-19 pandemic?
Hello, I can't hear you.
Okay, I will take that question again. As we celebrate Youth Skills Day, how important is this celebration amid the COVID-19 pandemic?
I think this is something that ought to be celebrated frequently because the youth are the strength of the nation. As a matter of fact, every youth needs to be skilled. And I believe that for UN to have identified or designated this day, to be celebrated, it's actually a commendable thing to do, because the youth, represent freshness. They represent strength, vigor. Even in the midst of all this pandemic, I mean, a lot of youth are still doing amazingly. They are doing great things all around the world. And so I think it's best we celebrate them. We celebrate our youth. they've been doing a lot of great things, and they are influencing a lot of industries in entertainment, in technology, even in education, in politics. I mean, we really need to celebrate our youth. They are doing very well.
That's right. Now, how has Nigeria fared in advocacy to sensitize Nigerians on human capital development through adequate engagement to enable local content?
Yes, I think it's high time we look into local content. As a matter of fact, I know that we have brilliant men and women that are producing amazing things that can even be exported even to the global world. I know that I think it's high time the nation, the country begins to look within. This pandemic has really opened, it has opened our eyes that look, it's high time we begin to look at what we have within as a nation. And I believe it's better we begin to embrace our local content, our local product. Okay. And I think the earlier we start, the better for us. Okay. Because right now, for example, we know that the oil the crude oil has crashed down, the price of the crude oil has crashed down. And I think this is that time we're going to look at what can our agricultural sector, what can we do in the agricultural sector. And I'm telling you, there are a whole lot of opportunities in all of them. Okay. And so it is high time we begin to embrace our local content. Okay, now, let's take a closer look at the theme for this year's World Youth Skills Day, which focuses on the skills for resilient youths in the era of COVID-19 and beyond. Now, what roles do you think technical and vocational education and training should play to fully achieve the Agenda 2030 as captured by the SDGs? Well, I think for me, we need to look more into digital skills because that is relevant, and the digital skills would place us, to compete in the global world. Because right now, most businesses that will thrive in this new norm, like they say, will thrive based on technology. You have to be visible, so we need to acquire digital skills. This is the era where whatever it is that you are doing, if you are not, IT compliant, if you are not digital inclined, you can't survive. Your business will not survive. Okay. And so, taking it to the next level, every individual, every business owner needs to leverage on digital skills. Businesses will survive now via technology. Via technology, via digital. Right now, where we can communicate via phone now.
Yes, thank you. That's thanks to ICT. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much for coming on Nationwide. We've been talking to Mr. Niyi Adekunle, the founder of Yes, I Believe Academy from Lagos. Thank you so much. Moving on now, let's join Michael in Lagos for trending stories in Lagos.
Thank you, Lydia. The closure of most vocational centers across the world has not totally deterred young individuals from acquiring the necessary skills for self-sustenance and reliance. On the occasion of the Zero World Youth Skills Day, Adiola Komiakere examines participation of the average Nigerian youth in several vocations, given the hiccups arising from the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions.
The 2020 World Youth Skills Day is taking place during a challenging era, which is threatening skills acquisition and development continuity. But the resilience of the focused youth keep them going in spite of the pandemic.
Markets no move well. We could start as civilized. Just the money, just.
Okay, as you said, Corona affect business.
Yes.
What do you want to do now?
I see there. I go still continue now. I know say we could go. Market go move well now.
It's because it's something I like, and it's something that when I learn also, I can also help the younger ones coming up.
It's always on my mind, but I want to learn mechanic. That is why I come to learn.
This is one of the many vocational outlets where youth skills are honed. Vocational and technical skills are major promoters of self and economic development, especially for the youth. This is because it creates room for self-employment, platform that help reduce crime rates and other social vices. Now, the United Nations General Assembly in 2014 set aside the 15th of July to encourage young people to acquire skills to achieve personal success and fulfillment. Nkechi Anani-Olise is a graduate of sociology.
It wasn't news that there was a challenge in getting jobs. Well, I was always hearing there are no jobs in the country, so my mind was kind of conditioned. So by the time I dropped my pen, I was ready to go into a trade that I know will support my family. But like we're beginning to see that the COVID-19, we're beginning to see that there's a new normal. So hopefully, in no time, if it's going to linger for long, we might have to adjust and accept our new intakes.
It is hoped that the continuous celebration of the World Youth Skills Day will put an end to unemployment in Lagos. Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
Related development as part of measures to cushion the economic effects of COVID-19 partial lockdown on vulnerable families, the Nigerian Armed Forces Resettlement Center Officers' Wives Association, NAFRICOA, has distributed palliatives to widows, orphans, and the less privileged. Coordinator of the association, Sheila La, disclosed that the initiative is aimed at giving recipients a sense of belonging. Emolia Yotokede reports.
17-year-old Prince Adam is a beneficiary. He lost his parents more than 5 years ago, leaving him and his brother to fend for themselves.
So I've been living with our aunt and our grandma, and unfortunately they don't have that much to sponsor, so I've been coping. We do hustle, but not that much.
Justina Noah, a mother of 3, became impoverished after her husband died in the line of duty in Benue State early this year, turning out to sole provider for her children.
To be sincere, we being a widow, you have nobody to look up to apart from God, and God used them to bless us. Like the palliative that they are giving to us today, it will go a long way to help each and every one of us.
These two are part of the more than 200 orphans and widows who benefited from the food and cash distributed to some members of the community by NAFRICOA.
Now it's even very, very difficult for those working to feed. Some are not even working as we speak. So I just feel it will be better to give out some food items to cushion their stress.
The association urged beneficiaries to comply with the COVID-19 safety guidelines as directed by the federal government in the fight against the virus. In Lagos, Imolia Ayotokide, NTA News.
That's a bit from Lagos. Nora is in Sokoto for more stories on Nationwide. Hello, Nora.
Michael, and welcome to Sokoto. About 5,000 internally displaced persons from Isa local are currently taking refuge in Shinkapi town of Zamfara State amidst fear and anxiety. The victims, mostly women, children, and the aged, were recently sacked by armed bandits. Salamat Umar Abdullahi reports.
About 10 communities were recently sacked by armed bandits in East local government area of Sokoto State. No fewer than 5,000 members of the affected communities, mostly women, children, and the aged, fled to the neighboring Shinkafi local government area of Zamfara State. Most of the IDPs are currently taking shelter at a public building in Shinkafi town amidst fear, agony, and hunger. This informed the decision of a charity organization, Orphans and the Less Privileged Foundation, to donate some relief materials to the victims. The donations include more than 400 sets of new and second-hand clothes, some food items, shoes, and drugs, among other things.
We did not provide up to 0.5% of what the number of people that are here. So we still request those well-to-do people, the million Nigerians, to
provide support in terms of relief.
Some of the IDPs said they had been in the camp for days, describing their situation as pathetic. The Shinkafi Local Government Council sole administrator Alhaji Sani Galadima, who sympathized with the IDPs, expressed confidence that they will soon be returned to their homes. The observance of safety rules against COVID-19, especially as they relate to social distance, is almost impracticable at the camp, as it is overstretched by the IDPs, whose major concern is how to survive the trying moment. From Gusau, Salamut Umar Abdullahi, NTA News.
Governor Aminu Waziri Tambol has called on stakeholders in the northern region to put resources and capacity to rescue the area from educational backwardness. Dalat Abdullahi has the details.
Governor Aminu Waziri Tambol made the call while receiving a delegation of the Committee of Pro-Chancellors of Nigerian State Universities on condolence visit to the government and the people of Sokoto State over the death of Pro-Chancellor Sokoto State University, Barrister Inua Abdul Qadir. He observed that the northern part of the country is still lagging behind in the area of education and commended the courage of initiating the Pro-Chancellor's Committee, expressing the hope that the committee will achieve its objectives. The governor stressed the need for enabling environment, provision of necessary infrastructure, instructional materials, and personnel to meet the educational needs of the region.
It's our collective responsibility to see that our younger ones are educated, particularly those children that are in millions and are out of school. We as leaders must continue to provide that leadership.
The leader of the delegation, Pro-Chancellor Kebbi State University of Science and Technology, retired General Muhammadu Magoro, described the late Barrister Inua Abdul Qadir as courageous and proactive.
Inua Abdul Qadir has contributed positively, patriotically, committedly to the development of Nigeria.
He prayed Allah to grant him eternal rest. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And that is it from Sokoto. Nationwide continues with Lydia in Abuja.
Many thanks, Nura. Welcome to Abuja, and we still have more on education. Ministry of Education says no commitment has been made towards the payment of private school teachers. It will be recalled that the Minister of State Education, Emeka Nwajuba, at the Presidential Task Force briefing on COVID-19 on Monday the 13th of July, while responding to questions, said government has made provisions to support small and medium enterprises through the Central Bank of Nigeria, and that private schools fall within this category of beneficiaries and can take advantage of that for salary loans and augmentation.
If you listen to what the president of the Private School Owners Association, Chief Olubel, he has said that he wrote a letter to the vice president because of the sustainability committee, and that he had advised that federal government helps pay their teachers. It is in that spirit that he may have written the office of the vice president. The window actually is available at the central bank, and that we are willing to do this.
The minister said there is no way government can pay workers that it has not captured in its payroll.
I had written back saying it will do the association a lot of good to let us know who these teachers are. I don't think there will be teachers that can be helped by the federal government if they do not have teacher registration council numbers. The palliatives that this would seem to be would then go to a request in the office of the vice president, guided under that economic sustainability window that the federal government is talking about, for which a budget has now been signed and for which CBN has made ample provisions.
Away from the education sector now. A federal high court in Lagos has sentenced a former executive director, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Captain Ezekiel Bala Agaba, to 7 years in prison for laundering 1.5 billion naira. Agaba, who was prosecuted on a 7-count charge, was said to have looted the funds when in charge of maritime safety and shipping development. He served under Dr. Patrick Akpobolo Keme, who was the DG of the agency between June 2011 and July 2015.
I've been able to prove the essential ingredient of the offense, as my lord had said today, and consequently the court agreed with us and convicted the defendant as charged.
The key points that the court relied on in reaching a conviction, we do not agree. We do not agree because we believe that we had sufficient ways we discredited those evidences. As I speak today, not one single naira, 1 naira or dollar was found in any account related to the convict, to the defendant.
Enugu is our next port of call. Let's join Chinenye for more on Nationwide. Chinenye.
Thank you, Lydia. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. Federal government says the reconstruction of the runway and other associated works at the Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, would be delivered by the 30th of August this year. Minister of Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, who was on an inspection tour at the airport, put the level of work done so far at about 95% completion. Susan Eze has details.
With the airport runway at the stage of laying the final wearing curves, the airfield lighting for day and night operations almost completed, perimeter fencing and roads ongoing, the minister gave a pass mark on the level of work done so far. Regretting the delay caused by the coronavirus pandemic, tremendous amount of progress, he said, has however been made. With the construction workers who had to suspend work due to the pandemic now back on site, the minister is confident that the project would be delivered by the end of next month.
About 90% to 95% completing this job. However, just like COVID, rainy season also is a monster in construction or procurement of this nature. But I'm very confident that this procurement will be delivered on the 30th of August 2020.
Senator Sereka appreciated the support of the governors of the Southeast Zone, especially the Enugu State government, for removing all impediments to the progress of the project. He noted that the federal government understands the economic importance of the Akanu Ibiam International Airport. Hence, it is working assiduously to see to the completion of the cargo and the international terminals before the end of this administration. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
One of the most effective survival strategies against COVID-19 is increased sample collection from the populace. Hence, the Anambra state government is taking practical steps to ensure residents take advantage of the testing facility in the state to know their COVID-19 status. Ndem Carlo reports that the state governor, Willie Obiano, sues for citizens' cooperation to achieve reasonable success.
State broadcasts to update citizens on progress made so far appealed to the traditional rulers, church and opinion leaders to assist the state in creating more awareness on the need for people to go for tests, as it is the only way to erase all doubts and ensure early detection and treatment. Governor Obiano advised citizens to adjust their lifestyle and adhere to the COVID-19 protocols or face the dire consequences of reckless living. He announced that COVID-19 testing laboratory set up at the Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University Teaching Hospital, Amako, is presently in operation.
It has come to my knowledge that our level of alertness on COVID-19 has started dropping. We must not willfully invite trouble to ourselves. Be warned that the law enforcement agents will deal ruthlessly with anybody or group of people caught violating COVID-19 protocols.
Governor Obiano says the state will experience rise in COVID-19 figures as more tests are conducted in the molecular laboratory, warned against fake COVID-19 task force operators in the state.
I want to quickly warn these fake operators that Nigerian police force has been directed to search for and arrest all those and prosecute those criminals.
With the lifting of the ban on interstate movement, greater vigilance is expected from all and sundry. From Onitsha, Ndem Kalo, NTA News.
And that is it from Enugu. Nationwide continues with Lydia in Abuja after this commercial break. Do stay.
The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
She cried. She cried in anguish and in pain. She bears the scourge of her grief. She toils in vain for justice and succumbs to silence. He gloats over his malady. Like a beast, he pounces with no remorse. Her cry meant nothing. Her pain feeds her shame. Like an orphan, she is left to grieve in solitude. But no more will she cry in vain. Her adversaries will henceforth bear the brunt of their bestiality. Rape is evil. Rape is a plague, a pandemic of monumental consequences. We must unite and kick it out of our society.
Connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Let us take responsibility. Stay healthy, stay safe, and curb the spread of the virus. Take responsibility. The coronavirus spreads from one person to another. Let us avoid crowd gathering of any kind for any reason. Take responsibility. Avoid traveling from one state to another during these lockdown restrictions. Obey all the rules that are put in place. Take responsibility. Stop spreading fake news and unverified reports about the coronavirus. There is no known cure for COVID-19. Take responsibility. Observe all the measures that can help stop the spread of the virus. Together, we can do this, but only if we take responsibility. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
From 5:30 p.m. on NTA. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Access Bank and Babai Jebu.
Welcome back. Report from the National Center for Disease Control, NCDC, says 463 new cases of COVID-19 have been reported in the country, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 33,616. The 463 new cases recorded from 16 states and the FCT shows Lagos has 128, Kwara 92, Enugu 39, Delta 33, Edo 29, Plateau State 28, Kaduna 23, Oyo 15, while Ogun and Osun reported 40 new cases each. Others are the FCT with 12 cases, Ondo and Rivers have 9 new cases each, Abia has 8, Bayelsa 5, Ekiti 3, while Borno State has 2 new cases. Lagos remains top on the number of cases per state chart in Nigeria with 12,711 cases. The FCT comes next with 2,687 cases, while Oyo is third with 1,882 cases. There are now 13,792 discharged patients with 754 deaths on record. The growing and negative influence of behavioral factors in containing the spread of COVID-19 largely constitutes one of the major causes for the avoidable upsurge recorded since the index case of the novel coronavirus in Nigeria and frustrates multi-sectoral response for effective management of the global pandemic. This reflects views of guests on NTA Tuesday Live audience participatory program on the topic COVID-19 and rising cases of infections in Nigeria. Abubakar Usman Akwanga has more.
The outbreak of COVID-19 was first identified in Wuhan, China in December 2019. The World Health Organization declared the outbreak a public health emergency concern on 30th January 2020 and a pandemic on 11th March same year. The pandemic, which brought untold hardship to global community, also left health experts with the challenge of increasing capacity towards finding a clinical solution to the virus. As at midnight, Tuesday, 14th July 2020, the global confirmed cases stood at 13,433,075 patients, while 580,072 deaths were recorded, and 7,828,914 patients recovered from the disease, while Nigeria comes third in Africa with more than 30,000 confirmed cases. Guests on NTA's Current Affairs program Tuesday Live say the spread of the virus is unconnected with behavioral attitude of citizens towards the fast-consuming, vicious and unseen pandemic, especially the outright violation of precautionary measures and other safety guidelines.
The government will not sit back and look at people dying from this. We will review our decisions. But now is the time for us to continue to follow those non-pharmaceutical interventions that may be burdensome in a way, but they're still easier than people being locked down.
The cases are rising. Until we have a vaccine, we are not yet seeing the end very near. So it's something that we may have to live with for a very long time. So the best thing to do is to know how to adapt so that we can live in this new normal life and stay safe.
Government was also advised to properly regulate safety measures and allow citizens to coexist within a defined social norms in order to reduce impact of the pandemic among the vulnerable.
There are so many asymptomatic young people out there who have this coronavirus, but we are not testing them because that is not what we are geared to do right now. And so what you have is a combustible cocktail of viruses moving up and down the place that nobody can detect because there are no symptoms.
As the figure gets scary, guests say adjusting to safety measures is critical to defeating the pandemic and returning to the old normals. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Benin is our last port of call on Nationwide, and Obehi is standing by.
Hello, Lydia. Many thanks for joining us in Benin. 40 more patients of COVID-19 have been successfully discharged from the Edo State isolation centers after testing negative for the virus twice, just as 29 new confirmed cases is recorded as at 14th July. Despite the daily surge in infection rate, residents' compliance with safety guidelines continue to degenerate. I was in town earlier and filed in this report. The number of COVID-19 cases has continued to be on the rise daily, and Edo State has remained in the top 5 on the chart. This increase, according to experts, is not connected to population,
weather condition, economic situation of the state, and literacy level of citizens, but the inability of citizens, both educated and non-educated, to listen to safety guidelines and protocols.
This is the King Square. It is one of the busiest places in Benin Metropolis, and on a normal day, thousands of residents make use of this route to one destination or the other in the city. And I've been standing here now for about 1 hour, and from my observation, less than 2% of the passers-by are using their face masks. Mama, do you have hand sanitizer in your bag?
Waiting me that. Why should I have hand sanitizer in my bag? I don't even believe that hand sanitizer can prevent you from getting COVID-19.
Like, go enter the house. Some people, many of them, they are telling me that's weird. They were looking at me very strange, but I don't mind. I know that I'm doing the right thing. That's why I'm getting it.
What about your face mask?
I have that because maybe if I want to enter the bank or enter a specialist hospital, they always require you must wear face mask before you enter. That's the only reason why I have those ones with me.
It is funny enough, most of us don't believe COVID-19 is real, but the fact that the disease is actually real.
Some residents now turn the face masks to chin masks, while social distancing habit has been thrown to the wind. Edo State number of COVID-19 confirmed cases is hitting 2,000.
And now to security. To stem the tide of crimes and criminalities in Ekiti and Ondo states, full implementation of the community policing policy is necessary. Governor Kayode Fayemi made this remark while hosting the Assistant Inspector General of Police, David Folawiyo, who assumed duty in the newly created Zonal Command. Kola Adebobuyi has details.
Having identified the necessity to improve the security situation of the country, President Muhammadu Buhari approved the establishment of zonal offices for the Nigerian police, which include Zone 17, Akure, comprising Ekiti and Ondo states. Having assumed office, the pioneer Assistant Inspector General of Police, AIG in the zone, David Folawiyo embarked on a familiarization visit to Ekiti State Governor to identify areas of collaboration in general security and community policing.
It is very easy to get security assured when everybody is involved.
Being in charge definitely speaks to our own commitment and interest to community policing.
In a related development, the state government is soliciting the support of traditional institutions and concerned residents to ensure success in the recruitment of people with proven integrity and character into its Western Nigeria Security Network, popularly known as Amatekun Corps. The state chairman of the security outfit, Mr. Kenyaregbeshola, said this at Omu Ekiti during a visit to traditional rulers and local government chairmen in the state to enhance security of lives and property. In Ado Ekiti, Kola Adebobuyi, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. Nationwide continues with Lydia in Abuja.
Many thanks, Obehi. It's a sad day for the nation and rank and file of the Nigerian Air Force, having lost the first female combat helicopter pilot, Flying Officer Tolulokpe Arotile. Defense correspondent Naja'atu Tijani reports.
Barely months after getting her wings, 23-year-old flying officer Tolulokpe Arotile, in a twist of fate, lost her life in a road accident. A statement released by the Office of the Director of Public Relations and Information, Nigerian Air Force, described the service of late Arotile, who was commissioned into the Nigerian Air Force in 2017, as short but impactful, having contributed to ongoing efforts at ridding the north-central states of banditry and other crimes by flying several combat missions under Operation Gamma Aiki in Minna, Niger State.
Amazing. Being in the air is fun. It's nothing like the ground, and I like it because it's a fun career, and I'll just never get bored.
While paying tribute to Nigeria's first female combat helicopter pilot, the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, commiserated with her family and the nation over the irreparable loss. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has received with deep pain the sudden demise of Nigeria's first female combat helicopter pilot, Flying Officer Tolulokpe Arotile. He described the deceased as a promising officer whose short stay on earth impacted greatly on the nation, especially in peace and security. The president salutes the officer's bravery in the field to protect the country from the onslaught of bandits and terrorists, saying her memory will remain indelible in the minds of Nigerians. He recalled her deft skills in maneuvering combat helicopters, which he personally witnessed with pride. The Nigerian leader commiserates with Arotile's family, Nigerian Air Force, the government and people of Kogi State on the loss, and prayed God to receive the soul of the departed and comfort those left behind. May our soul rest in peace. Let's take sports.